My book is called What's Wrong with Pakistan, and it has been published by Hay House, India. Now, many people have asked me why I have written this book. The reason being that if you look at Pakistan at present, there are a lot of things which are said about it even now or in the last 30 years, that internationally people criticize Pakistan for one reason or another, and particularly about the terrorism and some other factors. So at the same time, within the polity of Pakistan, there are lots of issues which are, coming in the way of progress, and those issues have to be identified. So when I wanted to write this book, I wanted to write that why it is so that we are in such a mess at present. Primarily, this is a book for the Pakistanis to understand, or it is an introspection for Pakistanis, that we should see first what is wrong with us rather than, talking about the world is conspiring against us. That is the primary purpose. And then when something goes wrong in a country on a social, economic, political front, there are obviously a number of reasons. And I have focused that what could be the main reason why Pakistan is suffering. And when I started thinking about it and researching about it, my whole thesis is that it was the major mistake to use religion or exploit religion to make a country, because the end was to have Pakistan. And the Muslim elite, Muslim middle classes, they wanted to secure their economic and political rights. But as they were not getting massive support, so they used the emotive slogan of religion. But my own dictum is that end do not justify the means, because the means then they are so strong as a political formulation that they set up a dynamics where the means start dictating to you towards another end. That is what is happening in Pakistan, that the religious forces, and particularly the militant religious forces, are trying to dictate the narrative of Pakistan. And that is the reason is that because we started it like that. So my whole thesis in the book is that because we use religion, religious forces became important, and then the ruling classes of Pakistan use religion continuously for their own benefit. And as a result, today all the Taliban and the terrorists are fighting in Pakistan. And more than any other country, they have damaged their own country. We have over 50,000 people killed by the terrorists, and out of that 5,000 people are soldiers who are fighting against terrorism. So this whole thing has been explained with historical references, with references of various books. The thesis is that if you mix religion in politics, you are bound to get bogged down with these kind of circumstances. Well, it has been very well accepted. I must say that all the reviews I got are very good, and from the leading journalists. It has been very well accepted, and it's being sold quite. It was the best non-fiction book, for the last 2 years in the Pakistani market. On the Hay House rack, I was the author of the month. So in India also, I'm told that it is already in second print is about to come in. So the first print they exhausted. So the book is doing well. So response that way is good. Now, if you mean the response otherwise, which I can understand from your mischievous smile, that is that, when you write such a thing, which is against the narrative of two-nation theory, which is against the narrative of Pakistan being a security state, which is against the narrative of, using the jihadis and all that. Obviously, there is a strong lobby, which is the right-wing, lobby and the establishment, they don't like it, what I'm saying. But I've been a journalist for 40 years. All my life I've written whatever I felt honestly without fearing for consequences. So my friends tell me that writing a book is a dangerous thing on this. But I feel that, by and large, the Pakistani society has developed some tolerance for a discussion or a controversy on these issues. The people who don't have tolerance in any case, those are the Islamic militants. And obviously you don't expect something good from them. So I don't care about it. One should be willing to face consequences. If your country is bleeding, you cannot just think about your own safety and not to say what is right. From history, then it has come to the current history, and it's basically a political comment on the history of Pakistan. Well, actually, the political compulsion is completely different. That we are bleeding ourselves. We have to now learn that whatever we did in this regard was wrong. What is the first thing when things go wrong? Either to blame others or to first, do some soul searching and see that, okay, this is what we did and it is wrong. And then try to find the right solutions. So there is a lot of discussion in the local society at the intellectual level on these issues. But obviously to say these things in so many words and quite forthrightly, not bluntly, or not, you can say it, in a very wishy-washy way, is something which I have done. I have said things very candidly, and that's what all the reviewers have said, that this is a very brave attempt, but I think it's not a brave attempt, it's just that somebody has to say it, and I said it all. Well, you can say it because I live in Pakistan, so a lot of things last 40 years were already in my, I've been writing on them. But the total time you can completely devote it to book was 1.5 years. And then it took another 6 months to get it published. No, it is basically because it has its own theme. So to make it more readable, I've kept the chapters very short. I have not, created the book in a very long, and to make it easy reading, it's written in a very simple manner which people can understand. And the book has 6 parts and 34 chapters, and it's 350 pages. Right now it is in hardcover, but to my surprise, it's quite inexpensive. Because the Hay House did not keep the price as high as I thought hardcovers do have. My view is that, particularly while addressing the Indian audience, that they should read it very carefully, because there is a message in it, particularly for India also. And that is that they should start looking at Pakistan from a different perspective than the usual perspective which I find here. And also understand that there are different forces working in Pakistan, and the peace lobby is getting stronger and stronger every day. The whole thing which I have tried to also said it in the book, and I say it again, because even yesterday what happened in Kashmir was tragic. And why it was so? Because the terrorists don't want the two countries to have peace. And if we stop talking and stop moving on the peace initiative, then who is successful? The terrorists, not us. So if we want peace, which is good for the people of India and Pakistan, which I believe most of the people want, despite of what media, on the television generally talks about, the people are saying anger and Manmohan Singh should not talk and all that nonsense. I think media builds up the hype because they want the ratings. I myself are from the media. I've done television programs for 11 years, so I know this game. So I feel that in the interest of peace, because that is good for the poor people of India and Pakistan. And for that, we should, the more the terrorism happens, the more aggressively there should be peace terrorism. And we should move on and say that, okay, we want peace and keep on talking, keep on ignoring these people, and then only we would be able to, get the two countries on the right track. Yeah, I am working on another book, but that would be in Urdu. In the first place, this book is being translated in Urdu, Sindhi, and hopefully I'm talking to some publishers in Hindi and Marathi. And then the other aspect is that I have written quite many Urdu columns also, because I write for newspapers. So some people have suggested that you should put those columns together and make it a book, because I was not that much in favor of that. So what I'm doing is a completely different thing. Instead of printing just the selection of 5 years column, I'm writing the postscripts, say what I said 5 years earlier and what has happened now on the political or economic scene.